and I cannot be the best me that I need to be available for my team, for my family, for my church, for whatever God has brought me to if I'm not investing in that education. So when I had to give myself permission that it was okay, that I did not know how to do something, and then the permission to go and seek it out. And so I also, this last year, I actually got this idea from a friend here. I hired a spiritual coach. I'd had business coaches. I had people, who worked and helped us grow our company, and I was really thankful for that. But I had someone that I could just go to and fully take from. And we spend the last 10 minutes of our hour where she just prays over me. And let me tell you something, I did not know how much at that time, how much I needed someone like that in my life who could challenge me, right? I'm a preacher's kid. We're not people that you often challenge, because I have totally used scripture in an argument with my husband. I don't recommend it. But right, like those are people, the ladies at my church, I love them and they are there to fuel me on, but sometimes I don't feel comfortable sharing all my weaknesses with someone that I see every single day, because it's really hard to acknowledge those weaknesses. And so finding someone who I could authentically call yesterday afternoon and say, hey, I'm not having a great day and I know Satan is attacking. Can you tell me what I know, but I need to hear, right? The other key thing is reading. There are so many resources out there. I love to read about anything. I actually really love to read about money. I know that that's weird. But it's those opportunities. And so I set a goal one year that the only time when I was in the car, because I really knew I was in a growth phase, and I knew that education was going to help me with that. So every single time I was in my car without my kids, I only had on Audible. Right? That was what I needed that year, and so that's what I challenged myself for, and I would alternate them. I would do a business book, I'd do a money book, and then I would do like a self-help or a religious book to kind of cover all of the phases of where I was at.
Absolutely. What is the last Audible book that you read or listened to? Do you remember?
It is called Undaunted by Christine Kane. And she is the owner of the third largest anti-sex trafficking company in the world, and she is an inspirational speaker as well. And she talks a lot in that book about how she felt unequivocally unprepared to speak to these women who've been faced with some of the worst things in life and to share Jesus with them. And you want to talk about a game changer? Wow. Yeah. Number one is because whenever you go through a struggle or you're not thriving or anything like that, somehow money is always impacted. So I have 6 months an emergency fund that covers my household. So no matter what comes, whether it be sickness or a job change or like when a pandemic hits and we don't know what the real estate market's gonna do, thankfully it boomed, I just have a peace of mind, because money, while it isn't everything, it is a factor in our life that causes real stress, right? And especially across your whole family. So that's my number one answer. If you want to know how to do that and you don't know how to do that, come and talk to me afterwards. My number two would be to check my sphere. When I know that I'm in a place where I am not thriving, whether it be external circumstances, internal, or anything like that, that's when I start paying attention to what's in my sphere. How much time am I spending with God? What am I paying attention to on the news? How much time am I on social media comparing myself to someone else, right? How much time am I spending with my family, with what matters? And how much time am I taking to pour into someone else? Right? One of the best pieces of advice that was ever given to me was serve in the suck, because it helps you get perspective, and it helps you see that there are others who are way worse off, that you can help make a difference, that you can even just show up and give them a smile. Well, I love that in the question you said harmony, because I went through a season in life where I kept going to my mom, who is also here, and I was asking, like, how do you find this balance? And she said, Elizabeth, balance is a dream that we're all chasing that's like the unicorn, though. Like, we're not gonna find it. And so she said, what I have found is that your life is a rhythm. And sometimes your rhythm, and y'all, I'm not a music major, so I'm gonna get it wrong, but sometimes your rhythm is a staccato, right? And that's what you're having to roll through, and that's the season of life that you're in. But sometimes your rhythm is then that you've got to ebb and flow through it. I will tell you, one of my best things that I do is I live and breathe by my calendar. I was trying to set up something with one of the ladies over here, and they were asking me, and I said, I can't do that without my calendar. I time block in it, but I time block in it not just for what I need to accomplish in business or what I feel like God has put on my plate. I also time block in it my family, right? My date nights with my husband that are crucial to our marriage. I time block in that. I time block in that. What am I going to do for myself, right? And what does that look like? And then I follow it. I actually just got this Apple Watch, and it was so I could follow my calendar a little bit better. I'm doing these coffee connecting, and they only last an hour because I only have about an hour in my life that I cannot be interrupted by something, and those things are important. And so the clock was there to help me to say, okay, my hour's almost up. Let's see what else we can get from this connection. And giving myself this space to also know when I just need to have a free day of no calendar time. It still goes on my calendar, so I protect it, but then I don't have to tune into it. I would tell my 12-year-old self that it is okay that you want a seat at the table, and it is okay that you actually take the steps to get yourself to that seat at the table. I love that we talked about humility today, because growing up a Christian, I thought I was supposed to be meek and mild and humble. And I recently did a study that talked about how God actually got angry with Moses because Moses kept coming up with excuses. But God, I'm not enough this. God, I'm not enough this. And God was like, I am, and I am sending you, right? And it was just such a game changer for me when I realized that it was okay that I wanted that seat at the table, that I was willing to step into it, and that I was sometimes willing to make an extra seat at the table because I felt called and felt propelled to be in that space, and that was okay. If I could have embraced that sooner, y'all, I'd be changing the world faster.